Welcome to Guerrilla Discipleship. I'm your host, Kevin Baker. I am joined by two wonderful people, Phil and Sarah Formicelli. They are amazing people. You're going to get to know them. This is a little bit of a heavier discipleship conversation, and it does discuss some very significant topics. Suicide is going to come up in this, so this might not be the episode that you want your kids to be around listening to. You might want to make sure that you're able to listen to this without young ears. But I think you're going to want to hear this amazing story. So just wanted to be upfront about that. But I'm glad that you're here. Guerrilla Discipleship is all about sharing real life stories about how God rescues us and loves us, to be folks who can help other people fall in love with Jesus, to understand who he is, to ignite in our own hearts a wonderful experience of walking with this God who loves us. Phil and Sarah are here, and Phil is celebrating a 10-year, important 10-year anniversary. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about it, but it's an anniversary of not only him coming to know Christ, but of some important changes that were being made in Phil's life and the way that God navigated him through some dark times. Sarah has been and continues to be his amazing partner in life, and so we're just going to have a conversation because first of all, I love these people, and they have a great story to tell. You've got some abandonment issues from growing up in the household that you did, with some trauma there. You've now lost both brothers, and you've got some grief that you don't sound like you've processed out that grief. You've accelerated your medications, the ways that you're doing to numb life away. Now you've added a double life. Now you're not only living through all of that, but you're not being faithful to your wife and kids, and you've got this other person on the side.
Correct.
That's a lot to live through. And your wife doesn't know what's going on.
At the time, she didn't know. I went through just motions of life thinking everything was fine.
Okay.
You know, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong.
But you're drinking every day.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I had multiple prescriptions from different doctors, so I always had...
You always had something some benzos to help you with all of that.
Always had benzos, and I felt nothing.
But you're still working. You weren't failing at work.
Didn't fail at work. Excelled at work, actually.
Wow.
So I was a functioning alcoholic,
Yeah.
if you will. Never drank on the job or anything like that.
So, any more bad stuff happening in there, or when does the breaking point
There is no more bad that could happen, I don't think.
Yeah.
So eventually, the affair came out, and if you want to add to that,
I mean, there was financial damage too to our family. He was blowing through all our money.
Okay, so you're spending.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I didn't have a care in the world. I'm just out enjoying life at this time. And,
So how do you find out about the affair?
I had suspicions throughout the time. Haley, our oldest daughter, got a phone call saying that a friend had seen Phil getting into a car with somebody because he would go out walking to get his Fitbit steps.
So
that was
a friend
suspicion.
Of Haley's called her and said, "I think I saw your dad getting in the car with another woman."
Yeah.
And so, how do you finally prove this, or how does it come out? Did you confront him?
Oh, we confronted him many times, yes, but
And he would lie.
Yes.
Nothing going on.
Nothing going on. The stories that would come out, the gaslighting was unbelievable. He would make up stories just to steer me off track.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Just to tell you it was all in your mind.
Mm-hmm. And he did ask for a divorce several times throughout it.
Why was he asking for a divorce? Did he give you a reason?
No, he just said he wasn't happy. He had moved out.
Oh, okay.
He had moved out.
So you'd moved out. You're saying you're not happy. You're asking for a divorce. You're getting some messages that there's another woman, but you can't prove it, and he's gaslighting you. Who's going to tell me about how this broke open?
I got a Facebook message in December from somebody who I still don't know who it was.
And they just said, your husband's having an affair.
They said, do you know what the Bible says about adultery?
Mm. But you confront him, and he lies.
Well, I finally came clean.
Okay, tell us about becoming clean.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute.
No, even after it was all spelled out in the Facebook messages and with me talking with the woman.
Oh, you got a name now.
I got the name. Yeah, it was the
Okay.
person I was suspicious of anyway. He still lied. He said he doesn't remember anything. He remembered just sitting on a brown couch and a dog, and he just lied about all that. And I was texting with her, like, he says he doesn't even remember you, and she's like, well, he better start getting real clear on what's going on. And
What was her perspective on this? Did she know he was a married man?
oh yeah, she was 22, and I sat actually in a car with her for like 2 hours hearing the full story of everything.
Oh, gosh. That must have been really hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out, how do you get to that place where you finally say to Sarah, yes, I've been having an affair? Because you're telling her, it sounds like, I don't remember that. I'm not. But at some point, I'm going to give you back the microphone.
There was one night when I was at home,
Yeah.
and I had our youngest with me, and then it was like something snapped in me and said, what are you doing? It was like, wake up. So at that time is when I tried to end the affair.
Okay.
And then obviously from that point, messages started coming out and things of that nature.
Okay.
Once I ended up coming clean to Sarah, all I knew that I could do was drink because I didn't feel it then. It was very traumatic for Sarah, for myself, for our family. I put a wedge in between us, between all of us, and this is to the woman that I adore, love the most of anything in the world. They say you're not ready to stop drinking until you hit rock bottom, and I feel like I went through rock bottom. At this point in my life, I wanted to drink or drug myself to death.
Yeah.
It's nothing else.
You were just ready to.
I was ready to die.
How am I going to get out of this?
Be done with it. I lost my family. I broke everything up. I didn't want to go on. The only chance I had of salvaging my family was to go to rehab.
Is that what you had said, Sarah? That like you're going to have to get clean? I can't figure this out without that, or did you just
for
feel
her
that
to
way?
even consider working on the marriage?
Yeah,
I would have to be sober.
that's a smart woman. Yeah. All right. So you decide I want to save my marriage. If there's any chance I want to save it, I'm going to rehab.
Right.
And
so,
how did you get to rehab? How did that work?
Sarah called around some different places, found an outstanding place. It's called Ashley now. It's Christian-based. She brought me up there. It was a 28-day program.
Wow. So, Sarah, you're an amazing woman.
No idea.
I mean, so you're helping him to get into rehab, not just saying, look, I'm not going to have anything to do with you unless you get sober. I can't even figure this out, but I'll help you find a place. I mean, that's a pretty generous heart.
So at that point, I was in the position of, if my kids are going to have a dad, he needs to get sober.
Yeah.
I think I checked out of.
So it wasn't necessarily about you.
It wasn't about me anymore.
Kids need a dad.
Yeah. At some point, it was, we are done, but my kids need a father.
Yeah.
So regardless of anything, he had to get sober.
That makes sense. I mean, I understand that. All right. Now, tell me again, so you're getting ready to go to this Christian rehab. Have you cried out to God yet in any way? Still not crying out to God?
Not at all. And I still didn't stop drinking or popping pills.
Okay. So did you show up
to
at
the
rehab
moment that
intoxicated?
I walked to the door.
Wasted.
You were wasted walking in the door.
Oh, yeah. So when you go there, and I don't remember any of this, apparently they strip search you, make sure you're not bringing anything in
Yep.
any way at all. And the only reason I know that is a week into rehab, they call you up, take meds, and all. They have to wean you off everything. And there was a lady nurse there, and she goes, "Phil, do you remember me?" And I said, "No, I don't. I'm sorry." And she goes, "I was the nurse who admitted you, and we did the strip search and everything like that." And I said, "Oh, I hope I was okay enough, And she goes, "No, you were fine." But they do blood tests and everything. And she goes, with everything you had in your system, you have absolutely no reason to be walking around right now. You should have been dead.
Wow.
And this is how I found out about the whole benzo combination with alcohol. But no, so I wasn't crying out to God or anything at this time. I went to rehab that night, the night of the 5th. Woke up the next morning. I didn't know where I was. I had somebody in the bed next to me. It took me a few minutes to put it together. Freaked out. Immediately got on the phone, which you're not supposed to do, but I was able to convince him to let me use the phone, and I called Sarah, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember the conversation we had or anything. Wasn't long.
Did you want her to come get you? Is that what it was?
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
You know, at this moment, I think, is when my abandonment issue started to come out. It's when I really started to have feelings. You know?
Yeah.
I'm losing my wife. I'm losing my kids. I'm losing my family.
Can we just pause on that for a second? It's so easy to say abandonment issues, and we live in this psychobabble culture, but that's painful. I mean, that fear of abandonment, that idea that I'm going to be alone, somebody that I don't know how it came out for you, but I'm like unlovable, or I finally gotten to the place where I've cost myself all these relationships, and I'm just nobody loves me. How did it come out for you? What was that feeling?
Terror.
Yeah.
I'm all alone. What did I do? How could I have done this? My family means everything to me. I'm losing them. It's just like everything inside is being ripped out. And the whole time I'm in there, I had that terrified feeling. And it was worse because I had nothing to make me feel better. I had nothing to take the pain away.
No medications.
None. I had no alcohol. I had no drugs. I had nothing. And those were the only things throughout my life that were evidently making me not feel those things.
Exactly.
Or not know. So now I've got emotions. I mean, I cry, in there. I'm like, I didn't know what to do.
Sure.
3 days into rehab, it was on January 8th. I was so broken that they have a chapel at this rehab, and I went in this chapel. There was nobody in it at the moment, and I just start bawling, sobbing. I drop to my knees, and I'm begging and I'm praying for God to please make yourself real. If you're real, make yourself real. Help me. And that's when I had my God moment where in the past, if people talked about, I saw God or I did this, it was like, you're fool.
Yeah, didn't make any sense to you.
No, stop it.
Yeah.
But I had a vision of me with God, and I felt this peace and this calm and this clarity. Everything's going to be okay. I had a vision of him almost, it was like walking me down a path. And I wasn't instant, I'm better. It was not like that. But
Nobody
I
met you in that
hope.
pain. Yeah, that's good. Had hope.
And that was the time where I truly dropped to my knees and I prayed and I begged.
Yeah.
And that's the day I was saved. And from that moment is when I really dialed into rehab. I learned what alcoholism is. I learned what drug addicts are, what it is to be one.
Yeah.
What it does to you. They say it's the disease, and it does something to your brain. And I learned all about that. We went to psychologists, psychiatrists. I mean, it was everything you could imagine. Just pulling stories out of you from when you were young. And again, you got feelings, tears are flowing.
I want to go back to this moment and just amplify a couple of things. One is, if you're listening and you're medicating like Phil was medicating, something's there. I mean, there's a reason that you take that medication. There's a reason for that alcohol.
But you don't realize it.
You don't realize it because it's like if I gave you enough pain medicine, you wouldn't realize that you've got an injury to your leg. And if you've been medicating for so long, you don't realize the pain that you have. So if you're listening and you are sitting here going, I might not have been as bad as Phil, but, I do tend to have a drink every day, or I'm taking some, drugs or whatever, however it's working in your life. I just want to say there is hope, and God will meet you in that dark place, that place that you're afraid to get to. But you won't ever get Him as long as you keep medicating. And so I know that this brother would be willing. If you contact me at kbaker@oakdale.church, or you can reach out to me at Oakdale Church somehow, I'll work on getting you connected to Phil, because I know that he'd be willing to walk with you. And if you're the spouse of somebody who is in this process, and you are sitting there going, I wish I could talk to Sarah, these are two amazing people that you need to and want to talk to. We've been talking here, and we've got more to say. So would you just, I'm glad you're here. Come back next week. We're going to continue to talk some more. Sarah and Phil are just so open. They are so loving, so willing to share their story, and God is using them and blessing others through them. So I want to thank you for being a part of Guerrilla Discipleship. Again, I want to just say that this is probably a more serious and heavy couple of conversations than maybe what we normally talk to, but it's so helpful to celebrate on the other side of a lot of pain what God can do. So just be sensitive to who's listening with you, but thanks for being a part of Guerrilla Discipleship, and we'll see you again next time.